What up, you guys? Yes, I still have not put a shirt on. If this is your first video, you're catching me. Hello and welcome. Empress of Duality here. For those of you that are new, my name is Brooke. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Love Vibe Tribe. So anyways, I just finished doing a video on... Damn. What was it? Oh my god. What was it? Spirit, quit playing with me now. Oh, how do you expand from a contracted state and owning your power? I just did a video on that. But there's something else I want to talk about. I'm going to get in the right headspace. So this video is going to be directed towards the light workers. Actually, I wrote some shit down the other night and I feel like, here we go. You light workers out there. When this video will be directed to the people that are the light workers, the wayseers, the healers, the psychics, the shadow walkers, the dream walkers, the children of light, twin flames, consciousness seekers, consciousness mentors, witches and wizards, leaders, energy practitioners, Reiki healers, holistic practitioners. The list goes on and on. Many of you that stumble upon this video have chosen to commit your life to something bigger than yourself. There is this soul calling that you feel within you to serve humanity, to uplift people, to assist them on their journeys in whatever way you do. Okay? And when you begin to lose faith in humanity, I want you to listen to this video. Because it's something I've experienced and it's something I've seen a lot of us within the light working community. I've seen a lot of us go through this and we're going to talk about it. Okay? So Spirit is here to restore your inspiration and to draw you back into your heart's truth. There is a reason that you committed yourself to healing, to giving readings, to practicing with energy, to coaching, right? There's a reason. There was a drive inside of you. And sometimes when we're on the journey and we really start to establish our work, we sometimes lose focus of our why. And we just get fixated on the what. What can I create? What do people need? What is my business going to look like? What is my vision? What is my goal? You know what I mean? And we get so fixated on the idea, but we forget our why. We forget the passion. We forget the inspiration. And sometimes we get into our practice and we realize that it's not as easy as you think. It's not as light and love as you think. You know, a lot of the people that need our help are the souls that are suffering, the souls that are lost, the souls that are confused. You know, and I think people kind of get the wrong connotation when it comes to spirituality, that it's all love and light, and it's not. There is a lot of souls that will come to you that truly need your vulnerability. That is the key. Whether you are a coach, a light worker, a reader, a mentor, a Reiki healer, whatever you want to call yourself, the key to that gift, that practice, is your vulnerability. And some of us get kind of lost in the what, right? Which is, I got to do this reading, I got to do that reading, I got to text this person, I got to email this person, I got to have this program ready by this time, I got to show, right? It becomes a job, which is what we wanted it to be, but but our main focus is on the job, not so much on the why, when the why is our driving force, right? So the first thing we want to start with is this, beautiful soul. You seek purpose for your life, right? You had this awakening. Some of you, even when you were a kid, you were just woke. You could see shit, you could hear things, you could feel things that no one else could feel. You could see things that no one else could see, right? Maybe some of you kind of shut that down for a little bit as a kid because you didn't have the resources to feel safe in exploring that side of you. But as you got older, you kind of had this reawakening to that gift, right? And now you want to serve with it. There's purpose to it. You feel that. And you ask, like, what is my purpose, right? What is my purpose here? What do I have to contribute? How do I follow this call that I feel inside of me and serve for the higher good? Some of you even worry that you aren't living up to your soul's purpose. You don't feel like you're doing enough. You don't feel good enough. You don't know how to step into purpose, right? You feel lost when it comes to your purpose, uninspired. So there's two groups of you that I can feel I'm talking to. There is a group of you that hasn't really established your spiritual practice yet. And there's another group of you that have been on this journey of a spiritual teacher, a spiritual mentor, a reader, a healer, a psychic. You have been on that, right? So y'all stick around because I'll have messages for both of you. But right now, let's talk to the newer group of you. You worry that you aren't living up to your soul's purpose, and you look for that validation in the world that you're worthy, that you're loved, that you're important, that you're special. Like you kind of seek that validation because you feel that spark inside of you. So the first thing that we need you to know, and this comes from Spirit, that's why I'm saying we. First thing we need you to know is to accept yourself. Okay, so wait, what? The first thing we need you to accept, beautiful soul, is that your purpose is to be your beingness. Your life in itself is the purpose of all that you see around you. Your body, your vessel, your life gives your soul the capacity to be here, to experience, to explore, to connect with other souls, right? That is your purpose, is to be. So all of this worry, all of this concern that you're not meeting your soul's purpose, they need you to accept and understand right now that the only purpose you ever had was to be. And I know some of you are like, but that's not enough. We're going to get to that. Just hold on. So there is nothing that you must do or become to be valued and cherished, okay? Now the other group of you that have been doing this for a while, you're like, oh, my soul's purpose is to be the best reader there is. Oh, my soul's purpose is to create a school. Oh, my soul's purpose is to do Reiki, to do healing. My soul's purpose, and like you're very adamant, like, and this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm here, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm supposed to be. Nothing else matters. Hear me out. You gotta reel that in a little bit because you are getting way too focused, way too fixed on the idea of who you think you are. And there is some truth to it. Like, yes, you are a badass spiritual worker, spiritual light worker, spiritual entrepreneur, spiritual mentor, energy worker. You are. But when you get to a point where you're losing faith in humanity, where you feel like you are up here and everyone else is down here, where you feel like you're the only one that has these abilities, everyone else needs to learn from you, or you get frustrated with mankind, you get frustrated with other humans because they don't understand, because they're not on the same level. You begin to get angry that you're here. You begin to want to escape the matrix. So just like humans that, I hate to say it, but truth is truth, that you're shaming, that you're judging as less evolved, just like they get stuck in loops of ideas that cause them to put themselves in a box of unfulfillment, you're doing the same thing but from a spiritual identity. So they may be doing it as a very typical human identity, right? Like, I am a mailman. That is my purpose. That is what I do. You know, it's a burden at times, but that's, you know what I mean? You're doing the same thing but with a spiritual identity, you know, and I'm gonna leave that there for now. We're gonna come back to it. You don't need faith in humanity to have faith in each other. There are so many souls on this planet that have seen some of the same things that you've seen, that have a similar journey, that you're supposed to collaborate with. As knowledgeable and as powerful as you have become, you are not the only one. Yes, you are special in the way that you articulate, in the way that your soul expresses itself, but we are here as one, united in a mission. So those little traps we were talking about, judgment, the trap of judgment, the trap of separation, the trap of unworthiness, the trap of duality. So Brooke likes to call them traps. Traps that the unconscious and conscious humans fall into. The twin flame journey, escaping the matrix, addiction, victim mentality, anger at God, hatred of people, right? These little traps. We would not call them traps, but schools of expansion. Brooke observes them as traps because many times, once a human embarks upon the journey, it follows them throughout their lives. It's meant to. That's actually the point. So let me share a story with you guys. My trap, if you will, was addiction. My trap was seeking external validation, seeking other people to make me feel good about myself, seeking drugs to make myself feel better about my emotions, right? That was my trap that I kept looping in for a while. And the thing is, even when you're out of that trap, out of that loop, it does still follow you. You know why? Because when we incarnate here, we have contracts with the universe, contracts with our higher self, with our soul's evolution. We incarnate into specific grids, addiction grids, sexual abuse grids, all these different grids we incarnate into, we journey it. And then the whole time that we're here, after we come out of that trap, we are a force of fucking healing. We are a force of inspiration. We are a force and inspiration and motivation to other people that are in those traps, that there is a way out. And we know for a fact that there's a way out because we created it ourselves. We went into that shithole and we dug ourselves out and we created a beautiful landscape, a beautiful fucking path to walk our way out of more like climb our way out of while we're in it. And then you know what? That path, that yellow brick road is what Spirit said. Other people will see it and they get to take it too, right? So why it seems like you're looping sometimes, or like you keep experiencing the same dynamics with people, is because that's the point, right? That's mastery, you know? Mastery, or a true master, is someone that over and over and over again, even when you catch me off guard, I am so deeply integrated in my acceptance of self and my self-respect and my self-love and boundaries that even if I am caught off guard by a loop, a trap, a template, a dynamic that I've been in 100 times, I know the way out. I put the path there, right? And it helps us stay, it helps our abilities, our capacity, our tools, our technique. There we go. It keeps our technique on point. That's why it seems like those grids follow you. But anyways, so many of you refer to our schools of expansion as karma or trauma loops. You believe it is your shadow sabotaging you or blocking you. However, this is not the case. Before your arrival on this planet, we chose the grids you would be working with. You chose your classes, your courses, your electives, if you will, okay? Y'all see that now? When you come here, you're like, okay, I'm gonna choose addiction. That's one of my courses. I'm gonna choose aerokinesis. That's one of my courses that I'm gonna master, right? And then this is a school, if you wanna think of it that way. Earth is a school. But the thing is, as you evolve through the class evolves through you. So there's no end point. There's no end, right? As much as you think you know, as you evolve, so does the class, so does the grid, so does the school. It's just a constant evolution, okay? So, this is what Spirit said. Those courses, those classes, those grids, those dynamics, and as Brooke said, those fucking traps, that's your mission. And you know the funny thing about a mission is it changes each and every moment. So sure, there are long-term goals, but those are your goals. Those are your goals of your ego. Those are the goals that fulfill your soul. But really, the only mission you ever have is to be with yourself in these classes, in these courses, in these dynamics. You don't have to do anything with it. That is your choice. That is your free will. You get to choose your mission. It is not chosen by source. It is not chosen by spirit. So when you get to a point in your spiritual practice where it becomes a burden to you, but you feel like you can't let it go because you're letting source down, that is the ego, baby. When you're journeying through your mission to be a reader and you're to the point where all the people that you're working with just aren't getting it, they're just not adept enough to understand, and you're getting frustrated because it feels like a waste of time because you just have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over again, but you stay in it because you feel like you're obligated to your purpose. No. Purpose is conditional. Mission is unconditional. The balance of life. You get to choose your mission. You get to choose your mission. You get to choose your mission. So if you find yourself, I'll just wait. Let's continue. Let me take a break. How does that feel in your body, you guys? How does that feel to consider that all the pressure that you have put on yourself to be that leader, to be that adept, to be that mystical light being, to be that coach, to create that healing modality, to create that holistic potion, to create that school, to create those courses for other people? How does it feel to know that all of that is just your choice? You're choosing it. It is not expected of you. You don't have to. So then, with that understanding, you're like, oh, so that means when I'm getting frustrated, when it starts to become a burden, maybe something's off in here. Maybe you're a little bit fixated on your what and you've forgotten your why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to serve? Why? What is the mission for your mission? Right? You want to help people. Why? What inspires you to help people? For me, it's my pain. The shit that I went through. I can take all of that and I get to use it as a force of love, a force of healing. I get to take my experience and share it with other people to make their lives easier, to make their journey better. Sometimes that's your mission. Mission can also be destiny, right? You're destined to meet certain people, destined to have certain experiences. But not if you're so fixated on meeting an obligation that you've put on yourself and then blaming spirit for it, blaming the matrix for it, blaming your circumstances, blaming the evolution of humanity. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. At some point along your journey, your chosen mission becomes somewhat of a burden. As you step deeper and deeper into service, you begin to question if what you're doing is really making a difference. You begin to feel alone and find it challenging to find souls that share the same training and ambitions. You begin to hold yourself personally responsible, and it all becomes discouraging. The vision seems impossible for humanity, and it becomes overwhelming. You feel like there's so much distortion and lies, and like you're the only one that is actually leading with integrity and honesty. You feel hopeless as you begin to witness all the change that you feel needs to take place on this earth to create a loving home. Brooke has felt the same way. She was giving her all doing readings and a mentorship for people. After months and months of working with the same people and watching them loop, she began to take it personally. She felt like she wasn't doing enough, or that people just didn't have the drive to change. People didn't have the skill to implement her teachings. She even entertained giving up doing tarot readings altogether. Not to mention, she was being psychically attacked by her clients because they claimed they wanted healing, but subconsciously they would attack her energetically when she began to draw out their vulnerability, which is the key to all healing. Brooke began to take on her client's journey, and this reaped destructive consequences. There would be energy leaks because of her lack of self-respect and boundaries. Her client's energy would be absorbed and wreak havoc in her life and her relationships, causing arguments and stress, even health problems. This led Brooke to begin to think she wasn't strong enough to do this kind of work. It seemed like no matter how hard she tried, no matter how much she trained, she could never fix the problems that kept arising. Then every time she felt confident enough to begin again, the same shit kept happening. Drain, overwhelm, energy leaks, questioning her capabilities, seeing her vision as impossible. Until one day, she stopped trying to fight through it all and she surrendered in faith. She stopped seeking to escape it and she stopped trying to fix it or change it. The art of acceptance is the embodiment of love. It was when she let go that she was able to see that the battle that she kept fighting, the shadow that kept arising, was not her own, but the shadow of humanity. And I think that's really important for you guys to know, is that when you begin this journey, there's a lot of work that is your shadow self, your inner child. There's a lot of internal shifting that happens, and there's a lot of shadow that arises that you have to navigate through, journey through, transmute, reintegrate, right? But then, and this is a pretty good sign that you are stepping into deeper work, unity consciousness, because you begin to realize that that shadow that felt so personal at times, like the limiting beliefs that you carried, the negative behavior that you embodied, the negative thoughts that you kept on a loop in your mind, that all seemed so personal and directly connected to you and your experience, you begin to see just how much it wasn't you. It never was you to begin with. That it was actually the shadow of humanity. And if you can't face your own shadow, how do you expect to face the shadow of humanity? You're going to crack. You're going to lose your faith in humanity, because when you take a look at it from the eyes of the God self, when you take a look at the change that really would be preferred to take place on this planet to make it a more pleasurable experience, when you see just how much devastation has happened and how much that devastation still lingers now, and you've given yourself the mission to conquer the elite, to shift timelines, to awaken people, and you've taken all that responsibility on your personal little self, when this is a collective thing, or you're shaming someone else for where they are, or you're losing your faith in humanity because they're not meeting your expectations of what it takes to create that change. Just remembering that. You know, I want to mention something. Because some of you that I'm talking to, you have been on this journey for a while. You've heard all the spiritual stories, all the spiritual narratives about this reality. And one of my favorites is that, like, this is a hologram, that this isn't real. This is fake. This is a projection. I'm gonna let Brooke talk on this one. But that idea pisses me off, because it comes with an energy behind it that the divine self is better than the human. The divine self, the spiritual realm, is more adept than the human, is more valuable, is more worthy, is more talented, is more gifted, is more this, is more that. That this is fake. This is nonsense. This is less than. And it pisses me off, because when you see it from the eyes of God, when you see it from unity consciousness, there is no human without the soul. There is no soul without the human. They are not separate, you guys, right? So for some of you, you have this idea of like wanting to escape this life, not wanting to be here, wanting to go in the astral realms and not be human, because being humans are gross, humans are stupid. And it's just like, that's what you think about yourself? It is what it is. That's you. You know what I'm saying? That is you. It's you experiencing yourself from this perspective, this perspective, times infinity. The trees, the leaves, the grass, the bird, your neighbor, the cat down the street. It's all you. And harboring that lack of where they are in perspective to where you believe you are perpetuating the very thing that you're wanting to overcome, that you're wanting to shift. And as a leader, as a healer, as a teacher, we have to remember that. We can't get caught up in our mission that we've given ourselves. Spirit does not ask you of that. If I wanted to say, Spirit, I don't want to do readings anymore. I don't want to. I know I have the gifts. I know I have the abilities, but I don't want to. I'm not going to be punished for that. My life isn't going to be less fulfilling because of that. My fulfillment in life comes from an internal state of being, not what's on the outside. It's how I feel about what I'm doing in my life. So if you are teaching, leading, guiding others, and you are diminishing or frustrated with the collective, I just invite you to take a step back. We are in this together. Their journey and where they are is just as important as where you are. Because you know what? You would not even be able to see yourself as you do right now without that person right there giving you the contrast to your energy. You wouldn't know. So what's funny is you take that and you get frustrated with it when really it's a blessing. It's a gift. But do you humble yourself enough to show that appreciation for that soul and where they are? Do you accept yourself enough to be able to accept that soul completely as they are and embrace them where they are? I remember the first time Spirit told me, Brooke, all of the hate that you see in the world is hate on self. So just remember that. The things that you think about people, they tell you a lot about how you treat yourself and how you treat others. You may not say it, but if you're thinking that way about other people, if you're losing your faith in humanity, maybe you do need to refocus a little bit and remember why you're doing what you're doing, because you chose it. So if it has become a burden, it's not because of the outside, it's because of the inside. Just like Jesus. Jesus literally was sacrificed on a cross in front of everybody. He was killed. But internally, even though he wept tears because he was in pain, he was internally fulfilled because he chose his mission. And he was free in that. He was fulfilled in that, regardless of what was going on around him, regardless of the hate, regardless of the rejection, regardless of the pain, regardless of the frustration. He had faith in himself. He had faith in his purpose, in his being. And he accepted all of humanity as they were. And he accepted himself so deeply that even though he was pinned to a cross and killed in front of everybody, he felt love, felt fulfilled in doing that internally, right? You can tie my arms up, you can take my shit away, but one thing that you can't take from me is my internal state of being, my self-love, the way that I appreciate myself, the way that I show up for myself, the way that I choose myself over and over and over again, the way that I view humanity, the way that I love. You can't take that from me, right? And I think Jesus is a really good example of that. We're like, yeah, sometimes it's discouraging when you know that you have something special. And really, it's not that it's even special. It just feels that way because you're expressing your soul on a new level. And to the human, that feels special. But it's very natural. You know what I mean? It's in all of us. It's just, how else would the human know if they were aligned, if they didn't get some kind of inkling inside, you know? And I remember it took me a while of asking Jesus, like, dude, you died on a cross, you sacrificed yourself, and I've been taught by Spirit, by God, that sacrificing myself over and over only perpetuates sacrifice, pain, right? Not having boundaries of self-love, not having boundaries with other people. You've taught me that sacrificing myself doesn't work. So what was the point? Why did you sacrifice yourself? You know, and it took me a while to understand that. Like, he was like, Brooke, I didn't sacrifice myself. That's the point. No matter if people understood, no matter if people followed, no matter if people praised, no matter if people could learn the teachings, no matter what was going on around me, no matter the rejection, no matter what they did to my body, I didn't sacrifice who I was internally for anybody, for anything. I followed my soul's desire. I stayed true to my why. No matter how many times people gave me a reason to go against that why, to say you're not worthy. No matter how many times people made it so easy to say, I don't accept you in that behavior. That's not okay. I stayed true to my why, Brooke. I never sacrificed myself, and that was the point. And I was like, oh, you were free. Like, and I think that's the most beautiful, inspiring story I've ever had the blessing of understanding, is that, like, he was free. You know what I mean? And sovereignty is not an external thing. It's a very internal. Your internal world, your thoughts about yourself, your emotions, you know, how you behave, all of that. No one can take it away from you. But anyways, that's my rant for today, you guys. I had to get that off my chest. And I know I got a little frustrated, but it's not frustration. I'm just passionate about it because, like, it doesn't matter if it is a tree, a bug, a card, a camera. It's all source. None of it is less or better than the other. And none of it has to do anything. Its purpose is to be. And our mission is to accept that beingness as it is. And as you accept, that's where the change comes from. But if you're constantly trying to create change in the world without accepting the world as it is, you're fighting a battle that you're going to lose. It's the surrender that wins, the acceptance that wins. And that brings you into that neutrality, baby, and it makes it fun again. Because then all the obligations fade, all the pressure fades, and you get to be. Anyways, that's what I got. I hope that this message was helpful to you in some way. Y'all drop a comment and let me know what you think. I would love to hear your perspectives on this one. But I love you guys. I still have personal readings on sale for $40 if you would like a personal reading. And with that being said, thank you for dropping a like. I love you guys. Empress of Duality out.